Hello everyone, I'm Harrison.
And I'm Rachel.
This week we're talking about how much it really costs to have a baby. So stay tuned and join us on our journey to raise
Raise
baby
Baby
H.
H. We just did an episode not too long ago about things on our registry that we thought were essential and not essential. So I thought it would be interesting to take a deeper look into the cost and figure out what is the cheapest way to raise a baby.
If you wanted to really get detailed, you could add in the cost of prenatal appointments, delivery, and ongoing costs of having a child like food, diaper, and clothing. But today we're just talking about how much it costs to gather the basic items needed for a baby to live in your home.
When I did a quick Google search, I found that on average it costs about $1,000 in supplies before the baby arrives. And that includes things like a crib, bottles, carriers, a stroller, and other things like that. So let's dive into this conversation.
When buying anything, there is usually a cheap, moderate, and expensive version of the same item. We're going to try to beat a $1,000 budget and see how cheap we can gather all of the things you'll need for a baby. Keep in mind that you can always flex your budget by splurging in some areas and going cheaper in others.
We haven't used most of these items listed, so make sure that you read the reviews for yourself if you're interested in buying any of these items.
So starting off with the basic items, you're going to need a crib. And cribs are a great thing to buy secondhand.
If you wanted to go extremely cheap, you could get a pack and play as your crib, which can cost as little as $40 or less if you buy it secondhand. But we're going to assume that you want a stationary crib. And so I put on there from Amazon the Dream on Me Synergy convertible crib that can be used as a baby and a toddler, and it costs $120.
After you get yourself a crib, you're going to need a mattress. So we have picked out the Colcraft Baby Pedic mattress, which is $43.
And other things that you'll need to kind of round out your crib is going to be some mattress covers. And we recommend that you get at least two, which would cost around $23, and then some sheets. And we put on there a 4-pack from Amazon that would cost $27. And having those extras is just going to help you do a little bit less laundry and help with those like middle of the night leak problems where you just need to change the sheets really quick.
There have been tons of times that we've woken up and Edison has leaked out of his diaper and we need to just change everything. And it's just so nice to know that you don't have to worry about trying to wash these things in between. So more than one is really, really great. If you're trying to spread out the cost of a baby, a crib and a lot of these sheets and things don't necessarily have to come right away. You can always purchase these later because it's pretty common for babies to sleep in a bassinet for a little while or just kind of lay with you.
And that would be my recommendation in general is start small because you don't really know how your baby is going to respond to certain things. And so you really only need like one or two. And then if you find that your baby really likes that item, you can purchase more, or if they don't like that item, then you're not out a ton of money.
On the other side of things, you are not going to be able to wait to buy a changing table or a dresser. It's something you're going to need right away, and you can pick one up from IKEA for about $39. It only has one shelf underneath, so you might need to come up with a couple of other ways to store your baby's clothes and things like that, but we have found that using a dresser works really well as a changing table.
So if you didn't want to buy a specific changing table, then you could buy a dresser or use a dresser that you already have and just buy a changing mat to set on top of it.
While an IKEA changing table for $39 is fairly cheap, a lot of pack and plays also have something you can stick on top that will work as a changing table. And so that might work as well if you're really trying not to buy this.
Another thing you're going to need is bottles. And like we said before, you don't want to go crazy and buy a ton. So just a 4-pack of pretty much any brand you can find out there is going to be about $20.
At the beginning for bottles, you're only going to need 4 ounces. And if you're going to do breast milk, you never need anything larger than that.
You'll definitely want to have some bottles around, but don't go crazy stocking up until you know for sure if you're breastfeeding, pumping, or formula feeding, because that will change how many bottles you need.
With bottles, you also need things to clean them. So you can pick up a bottle brush. The Munchkin bottle brush is pretty nice and it's only $6.
We haven't really been using a bottle brush since we started putting bottles in the dishwasher, but if you're doing everything by hand, then you might want to have one around.
One of the most essential items that you'll find in this list is a car seat and a stroller that goes with that. So you can buy the Graco Tempo stroller with a Graco Snug Ride car seat for $165.
They call this stroller and car seat combo a travel system. So if you want to purchase those together, you can definitely save money on attachments for strollers or car seats. But if you don't want a travel system and are just looking for a car seat, a convertible car seat might be a good way to go because down the road, you won't need to size up for your child.
So moving on to some of the things you need to kind of keep up with your baby's hygiene is first a bathtub. So you can get the Angel Care Baby Bath Support at Target for $20. And that's basically just like this little thing that you can sit inside of the tub that your baby can use as a seat.
I also found a 24 pack of washcloths on Amazon for just $10. And all you got to do is search baby washcloths.
You definitely don't need 24 washcloths. I think that we have like maybe 5 and are fine just rotating them out. So, I mean, that would be a huge pack, but I guess you could do the laundry a little less.
And if you wanted to set some aside, once you start to get some washcloths that are looking pretty gross, you can just throw them away and have some new ones ready.
For towels, you can find a 3-pack on Amazon for about $16. And this is plenty of towels, and they'll even come with a cute little hood for babies.
We usually use Edison's towels twice before they go in the laundry. So it takes us 2 towels to get through a week of baths.
Assuming that your baby is probably going to spit up a little bit, you're also going to need some burp cloths. So you can pick up a 12-pack on Amazon for about $12.
Another thing that you're going to need is diapers and wipes. But again, don't go crazy on these because your baby is going to react differently to different brands of diapers. So if you wanted to just grab a pair of newborn diapers and some wipes, you can get both of those for about $14.
Diapers are something that you really are going to have to figure out what works best for you. And if your baby has a lot of skin issues, you might find yourself needing to buy more expensive diapers. And, that's something you really won't know until your baby is here. So before your baby gets here, I would not go crazy buying stuff because it's definitely going to change a lot.
And definitely take advantage of anything that the hospital can give you because they will get you a good starter supply of diapers and wipes.
And a lot of times, if you ask the hospital for extras, they'll be able to get you some of that. Once you come home, you are going to need a breast pump because while you're in the hospital, they can provide that for you. But the very first thing when looking at breast pumps is to check if your insurance provides it.
If not, you're looking at a cost of around $100, and that's totally a personal preference on what type of pump you want. You can definitely go up to the $400 to $500 range if you want something that's wearable, but if you're looking for a basic pump, you can usually find them for $100 or less.
Now that price is going to include the package you could just get at the store, which typically has one set of parts. And we would highly recommend you pick up another set of parts so you don't have to be doing the dishes all the time. But it's technically not essential, so we haven't included it in this list.
And that breast pump is going to come most likely with 24 millimeter and 21 millimeter flanges, which are pretty rare sizes to actually find on women. Make sure that you're measuring and figure out your flange size before you buy a ton of pump parts.
Along with pumping, you're also going to need nursing bras. And you can pick them up for about $20 depending on where you go. And let's just say that you buy 2, so that's going to put you about $40.
I really like the Auden brand at Target, which is a great nursing bra, or Mom Cozy on Amazon has great pumping bras.
So the last section that we're going to get into is kind of these like small things that are really easy to forget, but your baby is going to need. So the first thing is baby nail trimmers. So you can pick up the Safety First 2-pack of nail trimmers for about $5.
You're also going to want to keep a thermometer on hand. And for babies, it's recommended that you use a rectal thermometer. So the Frida Baby thermometer costs about $14. We personally do not use a rectal thermometer, and we've always been able to tell when Edison has a fever. So it's definitely up to your discretion what type of thermometer you want to have in your house.
I would definitely say when you're picking out a thermometer that most of the time what Rachel and I do when we take Edison's temperature is we take our temperature and then his, just so we have a good frame of reference to see kind of like where are we sitting at. And with a rectal thermometer, this would really be unpleasant. So we have not gone that route, and I don't really see why we need to.
You also might want to have some books around for you to read to your baby, and you can get a set of 10 books. It's called My First Library Set for $17 on Amazon.
There are tons of ways to get free books that are really awesome. So we've talked about them in previous episodes, but just real quickly, the Dolly Parton Imagination Library can send you one free book every single month, and that's really great. You also should just check out your local library, and maybe you can keep checking out some books that are great for your kid.
During the day, you're going to want things to do with your baby. So something that is nice to have around can be a swing or a bouncer. And so if you get the Bright Starts bouncer, it's only $35. And these are also great things to buy secondhand.
We've also found that activity mats have been really helpful, and these are great secondhand items as well. But if you wanted to pick up something new, you can find one for about $35, and that has like some hanging toys, piano, and a mirror. So it's going to kind of grow with your baby.
You also might want to have a carrier if you're trying to wear your baby and get things done around the house. So the Infantino Flip 4-in-1 baby carrier is $30.
Lastly, you're going to need something to carry all of your baby's stuff around wherever you go. So a diaper bag can often run about $30, and we have found one called the Mokolu diaper bag that would be great.
So overall, this is a grand total of $820. So that's pretty close to that $1,000 estimate. But if you consider any gifts that you may get and try to buy something secondhand, it could be even cheaper than that.
And not everything on this list is something that you have to buy. So, some of these things are things that are just kind of nice to have. If you don't have a baby carrier, you're going to survive, but there are some times that could be really helpful. So you just kind of need to look at what items you think you might want with your baby and just what does your budget allow.
So there's a few things that we've included that you might not need depending on your living space. And the first thing is bath toys. Edison really hasn't played with any toys in the bath, and he's nearing 8 months old.
Another item that's missing from our list is a diaper trash can. And this is something you don't really need, but can be really helpful if you don't want to deal with the diaper smell. But you also could just use a regular trash can. And if you're annoyed by the smell, just start taking the trash out more frequently.
Another thing you can skip is a bottle warmer / sterilizer. You could definitely just throw them in the dishwasher or use a pot with boiling water. You also don't really need to have a bottle drying rack if you don't have space for one. As I've mentioned before, I don't really think that those breastfeeding pillows on the market are super helpful specifically for breastfeeding. Yes, we've definitely used our boppy to kind of prop Edison up, and we've traveled with it for other purposes. But as far as breastfeeding goes, you can just use a regular pillow.
Another item that a lot of people will recommend that you get, but you don't necessarily need, is a rocking chair. We've used it a fair amount with Edison just to kind of like feed him and get him to calm down a little bit, but it's definitely not something that's essential, and it also takes up a lot of space in your room. So, this one also could be dependent on how big your nursery is going to be.
A few other things that Harrison and I personally don't have is a nightlight for Edison's room or a sound machine. We've talked before that anything that your baby needs to fall asleep, they're going to need to stay asleep. And since we like to travel so much, we just figured it would be too hard to try to find the perfect conditions for Edison to fall asleep.
If you aren't somebody that travels a lot, or you just don't feel like you really need one, you can skip a portable crib or a travel crib. We mentioned that you could use a pack and play as a crib at home if that's something that you are interested in, but you don't always need a travel crib, especially because if you stay at a hotel or some other place like that, it's very common for them to have a pack and play that you can borrow.
And the last thing on our list is something that you most likely will need, but you can definitely wait to buy until your baby is a little bit older, and that is a high chair.
Overall, kids are expensive. I mean, there's no way to go around that. You have to buy things for your kids and you're going to spend money on them. But a lot of the items that you find online, people saying are must haves and you won't be able to survive without them, it's just wrong. You don't need to have all of this amazing and great stuff that people are talking about. What's most important for your kid is that you're there for them.
There's lots of ways that you can flex your budget around to make it work for your family. It just takes some time to sit down and figure it out.
Babies are expensive, and once you consider the ongoing costs, it just keeps growing. But it is nice to know that there are organizations out there that can help parents start their journey more affordably.
Next time, we are going to talk about teething tips and tricks. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.